We hope to have a dialogue because you have experience and expertise as well. And we want to lean on that in our discussions and conversations. Okay, so please give yourself permission to engage. All right? All right? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to start with reconnecting with our why, which I think is critical in the conversation about the work we do. Critical about the work we do. All right. To be a positive force in the lives of those I engage through the power of relationship, encouraging, educating, and empowering them to be better and more capable than they were before. I'll say it again. To be a positive force in the life of those I engage through the power of relationship, educating, encouraging, and empowering them to be better and more capable than they were before. Friends, that's my mission statement. That's my mission statement. My question to you is, what is yours? What's yours? Let's talk mission statement. I'll walk you through this one, but I want to talk mission statement. Somebody talk to me. What is the purpose of a mission statement? Come on, don't be shy. What is the purpose of a mission statement? Go ahead, brother.
Yes, I mean, it's something that guides your life. It allows you to, develop vision. It's something that kind of identifies what you're here for.
Okay.
And it allows you to focus, and then it allows you to say no to other things that don't align with where you feel you are purposed to go in the direction you're purposed to go.
All right. So I heard multiple things. The thing that stuck out to me in his response is identifies purpose. Identifies purpose. A mission statement, right? Whether we're talking Google, Apple, Nike, whoever, a mission statement identifies purpose, right? What else? Someone add to it? Come on, ma.
It could be your roadmap.
Say again.
Your roadmap.
It is a roadmap. All right. I like that she added to that because my brother also said it also keeps you from doing work that is not yours. It keeps you on track, right? It's a map. Okay. Anyone want to add to that?
It's your brand.
Say again.
It's your brand. It's your brand. It's your Nike, your Google, whoever. It's your brand. So
Yes.
you don't deviate from your mission.
Yes. All right. Because that, and we'll jump around. I'm not one who likes to read PowerPoint. All right. You're intelligent folks. I'll click through it, but I don't like to read it. All right. So it is your brand. We're going to veer, but we're going to come back. Somebody talk to me about brand. What is a brand?
She got on. What you stand on.
Say again?
What you stand on, your brand.
Oh, I like that. What you stand on. Come on, talk to me. What is a brand? Think.
It's an identity.
It's a, say again?
Identity.
It's an identity. Here's a critical thinking question. And who determines what the brand is?
Your target market.
Say again?
Target market.
The target market. The customer. Yeah? Because you could think you're a really swell lady. But you walk out the room and your colleagues is like, man, I can't stand that much.
That's true.
Is your brand what you thought it was?
Right.
No, your brand is supported by the market. Does that make sense? Right? Does anyone, any sports fans in here? I remember, what's my guy's name? Now I'm going to blank his name. What's my guy's name? Plays for New Orleans. #1 draft pick, basketball player. Zion. Do y'all remember when my man was in the championship game, college, had on a pair of Nikes, caught the ball, went to make a basketball move, and his foot blew out the side of the shoe?
And was. Nike.
Do you remember that? What was the immediate response by the company? What was he wearing?
And ones.
Some and-ones. What was the immediate response by the company? Do you remember?
We done.
They sent their folks on a private jet to go find those shoes. Go find them. Why would they do that?
Your brand. Your brand. On national TV.
Yeah, they don't want
My
people to.
brand.
Because what? Because that tarnishes the brand. And they need the shoes in hand so that they can put them through an investigative process to find out what happened to our product. We don't need the rumor mill to get a hold of this. We want to know for sure what the hell happened, right? Because word gets out in the street and our athletes buying that shoe. Nah, man, you see what it almost ended my man's career, man. Them was garbage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Our brands are the same way. Thank you, Lord. Our brands are the same way. We intend to do something and we capture it in our mission statement. Right? That's what we intend to do. And all people want to be judged on our intentions, whether it's in our love relationships, whether that is in our parenting, whether that is in our friendships, whether that is in business. We want folks to give us the benefit of the doubt based on what we intended to do. But people judge you by your what? That product better be right. That product better be right. Does that make sense? All right. So to be a positive force in the life of those I engage, purpose. Purpose, right? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? Through relationships. This is very key to mentoring work. This is very key to doing people-facing work, right? Like our relationships are the vehicle to do the work, right? A colleague of mine, Kareem Hines, some of you know him. When we were working together, we kind of coined or started using the phrase connection before correction. Part of the issue with our systems and our homes and our school system is that we are trying to connect people that we are not connected to. We are trying to change folks that we have no social capital with. Does that make sense? When I'm in a courtroom advocating for a young person and judge says, next time you walk in my courtroom, you better be able to pass this drug test. I have to advocate, Your Honor, he been smoking weed for 2 and 3 years. He ain't going to be clean in a month. I'm going to need more time than that. Well, Mr. B, young man, you lucky Mr. B is here. So what we going to do is watch your levels. Your levels need to decrease. Do you see? Connection before correction, because I have to build and establish a connection with this young person through relationship before I ever get him to try to change something, right? Educating, huge part of mentoring. Huge part of mentoring is education, right? Teaching them the words. I don't know how many of you have printed out the feeling wheel, but if you haven't, you're not doing good mentoring work. Part of our job is to give them vocabulary to attach to how they feel. It's not just happy, mad, and sad. I need you to understand when you're frustrated. I need you to understand when you're rejected. I need you to does that make sense? And so I use that feeling wheel and we start in that center circle. But I'm going to need you to use words in that third circle out here so we can really talk to mama about how you're feeling. You're not just walking around with an attitude. Does that make sense? Y'all remember that why you walk around my house with your face all tore up attitude every day? But you really didn't have an attitude. You was just frustrated as hell because mama, we keep having this conversation and ain't nothing changed. I'm not mad at you, mom. I'm just frustrated. The feeling wheel. Right? Educating, encouraging, and empowering them to be better and more capable than they were before. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to challenge you on day one, very first session. I want you to spend some time creating your own mission statement. I use it when I go get new contracts. I use it when I send out my information for keynote speeches. I use it because I want folks to know this is what Buana Clements is about. I don't do the work of food insecurity. I don't do work in housing. That's great work. It ain't my work. I build relationships. Right? I mentor, I do therapy, I do professional development, I speak, but I'm using relationship to do that thing. That other work is good work. It just isn't my work. Does that make sense? And the reason why the service industry, why we burn out quick is because we often find ourselves doing work that is not ours to do. Because you are good at what you do, people then invite you to do more. And if it's not in your lane, you're off-centered. That's called mission drift. Anybody heard of it? You might be doing something good over here, but it wasn't yours to do, bro. You needed to say no to that. Does that make sense? Because it's pulling you away from what you're actually good at. All right? So all behavior starts with a thought, feeling, or emotion, right? That's psychology 101. Everything we do and say comes out of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. All right. Again, this presentation is reconnecting to the why it is that we're doing the work we're doing. All right. So part of that thoughts, feelings, beliefs are our values, right? Our values. We all have them, and most of the values we have been taught to us. The values that you hold most dear were probably taught to you. Every now and then in life's journey, we can come and start to prioritize other values as we live, but most of the values are foundational. Those were taught to you long time ago. All right, so I want you just to partner up with folks next to you, and I want you to think of 2 or 3 values that you hold that have led you to this work. 2 or 3 values that are very important to you that led you to this work, and then we'll share out and have conversation. All right, I'll give you a couple minutes. Just name a few between yourselves that led you to this work. So I only have one real rule, is that we don't pass. You know what I'm saying? How the kids are like, oh no, we don't pass, right? We do the work. So everybody has to have something to say. Amen. All right, here we go. Values that led us to. But don't be nervous. I ain't gonna call y'all first.
You look right at it.
I know. Look, I know. You see that? You see they look. They were like, "Come on, bro. Nah, come on, bro. I got you. Okay, values that led you to work. Start us out, bro. So.
Ours was self-love and self-respect.
Talk to me.
So like self-love. Let me just go back to my notes.
I love him. It's so crazy.
I'm a businessman. So self-love is knowing your love language to me, knowing a child's love language, knowing what they it might be connecting, it might be let me just keep going down the line before I jump through all that. Self-love, self-worth, self-respect, and self-awareness.
Okay.
Self-worth, knowing your value. Self-respect, understanding yourself. Self-love is knowing your love language, and self-awareness is all knowing of self and paying attention. So connecting to the children or connecting to whoever you're dealing with, just knowing the value of that person, helping them know the value of themselves. So my whole approach and mission statement is basically teaching them about themselves and reflecting and projecting back off of them.
So I put this brother out in the community. Yeah, right. Can you see how his values are manifest there? And can you tell the type of energy he would exude when talking with kids? Can't you tell, right? It's a value. He didn't just pull that from the sky. You could tell that that's probably pretty consistent with the brand, right? That's why we're doing this, right? Reconnecting with the why. That should shine through. When he walks out the room and the kids are still in the room, what are they saying? I bet it's pretty consistent, right? Ladies, either one.
Compassion for me.
Yes.
And I would say just is that you have to have compassion to connect with other people. Compassion requires action as well. So
I like it. Come on, man.
I said one of my values is justice. All about justice. You know, fighting out for the underdog,
Yes.
person. So I think that's one of my biggest values.
Yes. Man, I wish we had a generation of justice-minded folks who went to them polls the other day. That's what I would. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come on, brother.
Compassion for the less fortunate, and enjoys working with children. Trying to encourage children.
Okay. Yes. Encouragement. Yes. Yes. Come on, man.
I actually have boundaries and consistency.
Ooh.
Working with children in the behavior field for so long, I'm 100% sure none of them had consistent parents.
Yeah.
And none of them were top boundaries. That's why they were the way that they are.
All over the place. Yeah. Yeah. Repeat after me. Johnny does best.
Johnny does best.
What Johnny does most.
What Johnny does most.
That's what my boxing coach told me. Fill in the blank. Whatever you do the most of, Clements, that's what you're gonna be the best at. You want to steal cars? You gotta get to stealing. Nah, real talk. You want to finesse, right? You want to be that guy finessing everybody. You get to line a lot, right? Johnny does best what Johnny does most. That consistency. I tell parents who bring their kids to me all the time, it would be better as parents to do the wrong thing consistently than for you to waffle back and forth between right and wrong. They're confused. They don't know what the hell's going on. They have no boundaries. Because it was okay for me to cuss the teacher out on Monday, but Wednesday I'm grounded for cussing the teacher out. You see what I'm saying? Consistent. No, I like that. And teaching. I was listening to a podcast the other day, some psychologist, I forget his name, but he said it is more important that kids learn self-discipline before ever having self-esteem. Ooh, I was like, did he just say that? Yeah, and then I thought about that. It is more urgent that they have self-discipline before self-esteem, because that discipline will keep them safe. That discipline will have them, adults will like them. They'll be likable, which is important when you're growing up, right? Because that depends on the type of adult attention you get. Does that make sense? So, no, I like those values. I like it. Come on, bro. Values.
Mine will be generosity, because I'm the type of person that I would like to give in order to, like when I talk to kids.
Yes.
I would like to create a platform where I'm giving them my time.
Yes.
Giving them things to replace, what I try the things in the streets.
Yep.
If I want to get them out in the streets, I just try to create an avenue,
Generosity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we give more? Why don't we give? Why aren't we more generous?
Because we feel like we need more back.
Say again?
We feel like we need more back.
What else? What? Greed? Selfish?
I feel like we don't always look at it as selfishness, but maybe self-preservation.
Meaning, come on, say more. So
if I give
yes.
away so much or too much, what am I gonna have left? How am I gonna make it if I give all this away?
You're getting at it. Fear.
Yeah, fear.
Fear that if I give or share or extend, that there will be what? Nothing left. Dr. Adams coined the phrase, there is no lack, only provision. Man, if we got a hold of that and we're teaching our next generation that, can you imagine, right? Why don't folks collaborate now? Fear. Why don't we share information and programs now? Fear. right? Because we think that if we do that, there will be nothing left on the table for us, right? All right. So values are foundational. Everything else is built on top of the value. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So my mom is from Sapporo, Japan, right? My mom is from Sapporo, Japan. My father is from Illinois. And there is a thread that runs through our family, although it's not spoken, and it's called honor. We're on the honor system in our family, right? Does that make sense? And honor says, in all things, you consider them before you. In all things. It wouldn't matter what it was. Like when we were growing up, I wish my brother and I would be in the house before my mom and sister crossed that door. I wish you would be in that car before your mom and sister got in the car. I wish my daddy would pull up and see my mama unloading groceries from our car. That's a whole nother problem. You understand what I'm saying? Like that is like in all things, like you went to go get yourself something to drink and you did not ask your sister if she wanted something to drink. Like you must be out your mind. There's this thread of honor that runs through the family. Does that make sense? Even to the point of sacrifice on your part. Even to the extent of going without yourself. Did you honor the collective before you honored yourself? Does that make sense? And because it's built that way, it's so awesome because mom now lives with me. And I have 2 boys and a girl. And my middle son and daughter are at home. Actually, middle son is in school now, but daughter is at home. And because, again, this isn't, honor isn't spoken a lot, but it's demonstrated and reinforced. It's really cool to see my kids with mom. It's really cool to see them with mom. And it's cool because mom comes up all the time, honey, thank you so much. You've raised your kids so well, blah, 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 because my kids know you better think of grandma before you think about yourself. My son is in Purdue and his roommate is Nigerian. And we met them like everybody else. First day, we're moving and stuff. And we're like, oh, yeah, you got a little Nigerian family, blah, blah, blah. And it was interesting. We got a call because I had my wife and his mama. Hey, y'all trade numbers right now. Let's because if you hear something, we want to know. And if we hear something, you gonna know, period, right? And we got a call about a week later. She was like, hey, thank you so much for sending your son to school. My son is learning a lot from yours. He didn't know how to iron. The boy is throwing stuff in the dryer to get wrinkles out. You know what I'm saying? Shoes just a mess, and he's just watching. And I'm sure my son's very like chill. I'm sure he ain't telling him. He's showing him. Does that make sense? Right? He's showing him. Like when my son calls, he tells his roommate, call your mama. It's like, man, call your mama. Honor. Does that make sense? Foundational. All right, personal beliefs. So our whys are built on values and then personal beliefs. Remember, first rule of psychology, all behavior comes from a thought, feeling, or emotion. We don't do or say anything that first wasn't inside, right? When I was young and I used to fly off the handle at home, blah, blah, man, and that's why, I'm so sick of this, and man, y'all, but this is why. And then I go to my room, and then the next morning, Mama, I'm sorry. Mama, I didn't mean that. And my mom would just say, honey, no, you're not sorry. You're regretful, but you ain't sorry. Everything you said, you meant to say, no, Mama, I was just mad. I'm sorry. Mom, she's like, no, babe, it couldn't have come out your mouth if it first wasn't in your heart. And she'd walk away. Right? And she just walk away. We just sitting there feeling bad, disrespectful, mad, dishonorable. You know what I'm saying? And she just leave you to deal with that on your own. She was like, no, honey, you meant everything you said. You regret that you said it now, but it couldn't have come out your mouth if it first wasn't in your heart. right? All right. So personal beliefs. One of mine, I'll share one of mine so you'll understand. I know this text is small. My personal belief is that all people desire to do well and be successful. One of my core beliefs is that all people desire to do well and be successful. That has everything to do with how I approach people, especially young people. That has everything to do with how I feel about the people who stand at the end of the ramp with signs. That has everything to do with how I feel about the homeless who camp out downtown. That has everything to do with the mother who has multiple children and is needing assist. That has everything to do with my approach to them, because all people desire to do well and be successful. So when I see them not doing well or not being successful, it doesn't exude judgment from me. It doesn't stir up judgment. It makes me ask, I wonder what the hell happened. What happened? How many of you believe all people desire to do well and be successful? I want you to reflect back to third grade. Reflect back to your third grade class, real quick. Remember that doing art, I don't know, I don't even think they use this paper no more. But y'all remember those manila sheets of paper that was about yay long? Kind of rough. Your crayons never was real good on them. You know what I'm talking about? In third grade, your teacher came in one day and said, class, today we're going to make a poster of what you want to be when you grow up. Y'all remember that assignment? Y'all remember that assignment? What'd you draw? A what? Bro, what'd you draw?
The doctor.
Mama, what'd you draw? Bro. Aaron, what'd you draw?
Vet.
I did too. What'd you draw? You don't remember? That's all right. What'd you draw, man? A lawyer. What'd you draw?
Basketball player.
What'd you draw? Pops, what'd you draw?
I'm with Mike. I don't remember.
What'd you draw, Doc? Here. Listen. What no one, here's this is why this is a core belief. I really thought about this. What no one ever drew was homeless.
Oh, no.
What no one ever drew was a felon. No one ever drew a single mom with multiple children. No one ever drew those things. They all had a vision of what success was and that they were going to be that thing. And so when I see people not being what they drew in third grade, when life hadn't beat the hell out of them, when I see people not being that, it should give you pause. It should change your approach. It should tamp down the judgment we have. Does that make sense? The why. So your why is built on values and personal beliefs. I want you to share between your partners. Give me 2 personal beliefs that lead you in this work. All right? 2 personal beliefs that lead you in this work. Go. What personal belief do you think led you to the work or guides you in your work? Yep. You want to start us off, bro? Okay. I know. Right?
I say,
No, he ain't no passing. Ain't no passing. Yeah. Come on, bro.
I'm ready.
I believe that every individual desires structure.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I was a dean at a school and in the inner city, a really bad school before I got there. It did very well, by the time I departed, but I would always give children choice to freelance or to do what we kind of telling you to do.
Okay.
And I'll let them make the decision. And they always, like I was telling him, they always thought that maybe I'm trying to trick them. And also sometimes they'll ponder, and then they always go towards.
I like it. Yeah.
So I personally believe everybody wants structure.
I like that. I like that. Because then as you help, I don't know if you guys, well, I do know. You guys all are working off a set of goals with your clients, right? So that's the destination, but the roadmap is the structure, right? And sometimes the goals are hard to get through because they haven't learned how to structure themselves. Does that make sense? They don't have the frustration tolerance it takes. They don't have the goal setting it takes. They don't have the stick to itness it takes to get to the goal that said agency or system put in place for them. So teaching them how to set some goals, how to set some boundaries is critical in their success. And that, guys, we do a lot of working with people who we look at and say, y'all should know better. And the truth is, they don't know. I mean, even the basic stuff, they don't know. And we think they do. And so we approach and deal with them differently, right? I'm speaking to, folks 40 and up who keep using this word respect when it comes to kids, or disrespect. And I ask them, so what does that mean to you? Now, he not going to just be disrespectful to me. Well, hold on, pause. What's disrespectful to you? Well, he know what he's doing to be disrespectful. Well, no, he don't. No, he don't. And neither does his mama.
Right.
If we tell him the truth, you understand what I'm saying? So what you have labeled as disrespectful, he doesn't know. So giving them structure to understand what these boundaries are is very critical to being successful with them, right? And it has to be age appropriate. It has to be culturally relevant. Does that make sense? All right. Another personal belief? Come on, bro. No, I'm skipping.
Ours is more like integrity. We have integrity. We have different opportunities. We putting different opportunities in front of them.
Okay.
Things that we've grown up doing, we're trying to instill in you, like you said, that disrespect thing. What is disrespect? How do you define disrespect anymore? So we're listening to kids, but we're also, like Richland. She one of hers, they sit there and build Legos together.
Uh-huh.
She's incorporating ways of talking to her, bringing out her positive.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
we it's I don't know. I stutter over because I'm excited. I'm passionate about it, but to sit here and just put it all in words, sometimes I get a little choked.
No, you're doing good, bro.
But we want a positive role model.
Okay.
Per se.
There we go.
We're not.
There we go.
We're not putting everything that we
Yes.
know
Yes.
on you. You know what I'm saying? We letting you explain to us.
Yes.
We're learning and growing as you're learning and growing also. So our integrity, we teaching you how
Yes.
to be positive. We teaching you how to, be honest, in your life.
Yes.
Because that's all you have. If you don't have no credit, what else do you have?
Okay.
All you got is your word. So we're teaching you things of that nature.
I like it.
We're bringing the the realness of, so yeah, we got all this structure, but we also bringing that real. We're teaching you how to, cope with things your way.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
If you have not introduced yourself to Pedagogy of the Oppressed, it would be well worth investing in. Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Okay. And part of the thought process in Pedagogy of the Oppressed is that learning is actually a two-way street. Right? When the knower, I'm going to use some different language here. When the knower goes to the one in need and imposes knowing on that person, that is not a two-way street.
Right.
That's oppression. Okay. Learning, even in a classroom, even in a therapeutic or a mentoring relationship, is a two-way street. So I have to be able to express and teach you what my knowing is for you to know how to properly do the same to me. Does that make sense? Right? So if we're taking disrespect as an example and a young man has problems, think about this as the knower. We're the knower, right? We're the provider of services. They have an issue with respectful communication, right? As the knower, we can go in that relationship and then impose ours onto him without allowing him to tell you why it is this way. Well, that's just oppressing him and making him conform to what you have said is the right way to do it. The better way to do it would be to be in connection with him before the correction so that you can get a sense of why he is this way, why he communicates this way, why he thinks that is an appropriate way to communicate, and then together you walk it out.
It's interesting. It was interesting. I was at and two of my cohorts. They have a group of guys ranging from 20 to probably about 26.
Okay.
So they're just having lunch, and they're a direct reporter there. I'm there, and they're just talking about men stuff.
Yep.
So I wish you would, because this is what I said. So all of the older guys, they were 50, myself 65, 70. Then these people young.
Okay.
This 20-year-old. I don't know what's wrong with you adults. I think you know everything. Now, the older guys, you don't know nothing. So again, I stood up and said, you know what, you guys, I'm telling the older guys, you're wrong. He does know.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell
knows
you his
plenty.
experience.
Yeah, knows plenty.
And you're not listening to him.
Yes.
Oh, he don't know. He don't know. So I went in there the next day. Well, he can't talk to me. Well, he's not going to talk to you because you're not listening.
You just made it clear.
You just made it
You just made it clear, right?
So it's just interesting that you don't want to listen to
Correct.
their experiences.
Yes.
Because you're right. They don't know. You don't know where he's coming from.
Yes.
And you don't want to hear him.
Yes.
So he's going to stay where he is, and he's not going to talk.
Because he's good. Because that causes him to reject what you're bringing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The other thought process in pedagogy of the oppressed is that when the oppressed have to be careful, I should say it that way, the oppressed have to be careful not to associate winning with being an oppressor. The oppressed have to be careful, follow me, not to confuse winning with being the oppressor. So someone who is on the downside or is downtrodden, if they're looking up and like, man, one day I'm gonna make it. What are you actually making it to? When you're in that position, are you going to be an oppressor too? Is that what winning looks like? Do you see? That's why this relationship, this learning relationship, teaching relationship has to be a two-way street, because if you're not careful, you will associate success with oppression. Now it's my turn. Y'all gonna listen to me. Yeah, you the oppressor now, bro. Now I'm in charge. Now it's going to be my way or the highway. You don't got to be here if you don't want to be. You're the oppressor now. Do you see?
Yeah.
We got to be real careful that when we're in these relationships, and make no mistake about it, they're not actually coming to you at their best. They're coming to you in need. So there's already this power differential that you have, and we have to make sure that we maintain a relationship where the learning and teaching is a two-way street. That's actually what respect is. I'm respecting, I'm giving honor, I'm giving credence to your experiences are worth something. They built and shaped you, right? And you are the way you are because of those things. I'm going to share my experiences with you, and together we are going to walk towards pro-social behaviors that our society has agreed are social norms. Does that make sense? All right. We're almost finished here. The third and last thing our why is built on is personal experiences. You'll probably relate most to this section. Most of us in service work are serving because we are hoping to be the person we needed at one point. Most of us who get in service work get in this work because we are hoping to be for someone else what we, in fact, needed some other time. I wish I had had a mentor like Aaron when I was growing up. Yeah, I wish I had had a therapist like when I was, does that make sense? And we see ourselves now in position to do that for someone else, which leads us to this type of work. Does that make sense? Because you certainly didn't get in it for the financial benefit. Right? I mean, if you got cute toes, you could make more money. Now stop me when I lie. You understand what I'm saying? So I know we didn't get in this work because to make a whole bunch of money. No, you feel, a lot of us feel called to be in this work. A lot of us feel purposed to be in this work, right? Because at some point you went through something and needed someone that you are trying to be now. Yes? So in a couple minutes, I'll give us 3 minutes for this section. I want you to share what is the personal experience that led you to this work. All right, go.
All right.
Personal experiences, everybody should have an answer. Everyone should have, you're in the wrong room if you don't have an answer. Everyone should have an answer. Yes? I mean, you did not choose to work with people and not have a reason for doing it. Because it wasn't the money. I've been in the business a long time. It wasn't Dr. Adams. It wasn't the money. And we've started multiple agencies. We've started multiple programs. Folks is out here using our program. Like it wasn't the money.
Just being relatable, living in the household. My parents were married, but my mother actually was a single parent. My father was in active addiction at the time, gambling, all of that other stuff. Witnessing domestic violence, actually having to stay in the Julian Center to hide from my father. So being in those places, in those environments, now learning to reconnect with my father, who just completed a sober living or lives in sober living now in his 60s, but navigating through that, like there's still a lot of trauma with that, but you are my father. In order for me to be accountable for my decisions in the future, I have to, apologize and learn to disagree or learn to agree with my dad is one of them people. So just being in that environment, growing up in that environment, seeing my mother be able to buy a home close to her 60s last year. So just seeing that things can change, but it did start off rocky for sure.
Yes. So that's so good. That's so good. You gonna go there?
Yeah, I go. So now my dad is a legend in the streets, like very, very well known. He went to prison when I was 5. He was released when I was 16. Greatest year of my life, and was murdered by a 17-year-old when I was 17. And so the emotions I had to go through to navigate going to this white school and playing football to want to be a killer, it just kind of changed my perception. And so I was able to, like, these kids that I work with, I'm just able to understand on a different level. It's really just come from just listening. Like you listen, they tell you exactly what they need, and then it's on you to make it happen. And also with these kids, man, they hand wasn't like it's terrible. Some of them some of these kids don't have parents.
Period.
And they navigating this world and in foster care, and they don't even realize how much of a superpower that is. So for me, it's on me to show them, like, nah, bro, people don't do this. People don't go from no parents to graduating high school and going to college. It's unheard of. So we don't celebrate. So it just helped me do the work.
That's good. That's good. And having gone through that, that dictates. You'll hear in all my prison, I talk about approach. Approach is so important to execution. My mom used to say, "Hey, Bo, how do you expect it to end well when you started wrong?"
Start off on the line. Truth is only say
right? How do you expect this thing to go well, whether that was a boxing match, a wrestling tournament, a relationship? You know what I mean? How do you expect this thing to end well? Bro, you started wrong, right? And so the approach we take when we start these relationships, we can find ourselves having to make up ground, right? Trying to erase a bad approach just to earn the trust to do the connection before the correction, right? So those clients that are not engaged, that are not calling back, that are not responding, that are missing a point, like the start, I often, when people come to, hey man, I just can't connect. I'm like, tell me about how it started. Right? When Peggy sends people to me, tell me about how it started. When Twanda Dent sends people, tell me about how it's, I want to know how it started. Because generally I can find something in the start, right? That we're going to have to make up some ground. We might have to eat some humble pie and go apologize because we didn't start the right way so that we can now build a connection. Does that make sense? Someone else? Come on, man.
So personal experience isn't actually why I got into it. I did get into it because it was a better job offer. But I would say personal experience is what has kept me in it. So I've been doing it for about 14 years now. And I want to still be doing it.
For sure.
If it wasn't for my personal experiences. I grew up pretty much probably the same as most. Grew up poor. My dad divorced my mom when I was young. He used to beat on her, so we used domestic violence. But I will say for Tanisha, my dad is my best friend now in my adult years. So I had to learn how to forgive. So one of the things, that keeps me in it again is what I've been through. So what I like to tell my mentee now, she has a rep right now, but I came out great with a rough childhood. Like I'm doing very well for myself. So I use that in my services with her. So I definitely feel like I was put on this earth to serve others. I majored in fashion because I thought it was cute. Clearly, I'm not still in that, so I'm not even in what I majored in. But I always say, although I'm passionate about fashion, I'm passionate now about interior decorating. It's not my purpose.
Me too.
Yeah, it's not my purpose.
What?
I'm also
Interior
passionate about this
design?
as well.
What?
So it's one of my passions, but I don't do the other passion
Yes.
because this is what I'm here for.
Understood.
So
Understood. No, so good. Didn't lead me here, but kept me here. Yeah, that's nice right there. That preaches, Pops. Didn't lead me here, but kept me here. Yeah. And because of, I love that you acknowledged that you're being successful right now. I love that she acknowledged that, right? We often don't. We often don't because we're servants. We're so busy doing. We're so busy trying to fix and help that we don't acknowledge that we are being successful. I say this all the time. I think you'll relate to it. With young people, when you work with little people, you can just be a good person and do well with them. For our teens, you have to be a superstar. You understand? With young people, you could just be a good dude. But the older they get, no. You got to be a superstar now. And I'm talking from how you look, smell, dress, ride, everything. Because now it takes more stimulus to get there and hold their attention. And if they see you as dusty, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You understand what I'm saying? I'm so serious. Like I did the keynote for DCF and they were like, what? Yeah, go get you a pair of Air Max. Stop showing up in these khaki pants and no. They don't want to be seen when you look like a probation officer. You understand what I'm saying? Go get you a pair of Timberlands. Like serious, I'm so serious. Like you don't have to try to be them. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying the older that you got to be somebody that they look to like, oh yeah, hold on, man. I'm not embarrassed that they coming to my cafeteria. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not embarrassed that they're coming up to my house and my friends is on the porch. Right? You've got to be able to exude something that they want to connect to. No, so I see that in Brother Aaron. The young people want to be with him, even when they ain't like, man, can you come and slide? Can you pick me up? Yeah, because they want to be in his presence. Does that make sense? Yeah, and we have to offer them that. Now, my dad would be like, boy, I ain't thinking about, well, Dad, you shouldn't be mentoring. No, that's real. I ain't interested in that. Then don't mentor. Go do something else. Because these kids, they need that sort of energy. So your energy has to be bigger than the street energy. Your energy has to be bigger than that energy, because if that's more exciting, man, they're not trying to come with you for 2 hours on a Saturday. Like, nah, man, I'm got something else to do. Does that make sense? All right. Anybody else? I got you.
I was gonna say mine is coming up. I'm the only child. My father was diagnosed with schizophrenia in 1979. I was born in 1981, so when I interacted with my dad, he was always people was around. My mom never hugged me. My dad never hugged me. My mom never hugged me. My dad never hugged me. They never kissed me. They never showed no affection. The only time my mom actually put her hands on me is when she used to beat me. You know what I mean? 'Cause I used to get beat. I was bad. I had anger issues. But I turned that around when I deal with the young folks, especially the younger generation, the young kids 10 and under. I always give them a hug because they don't have that affection. And another story is that I go into the juvenile center on Tuesday. Some of y'all know that. And I asked the young folks that was like between the ages of 16 and 17 before they get weighed over, when the last time they hugged their daddy. None of them said, I never do. I said, when last time your mama hugged you? They was like, about 3-4 years ago. I said, what about your grandmother? They was like, I don't even mess with my grandma. Like, my grandma don't even deal with me. And so then I asked about the grandfather. He like, oh, he dead or he in a nursing home. I'm not going to no nursing home. So the disconnection from the just love, because the word to say love covers a multitude of sin. So if love is the greatest gift, and if we ain't showing no love to nobody or to the children or to the people we dealing with, there's no way you're going to be able to affect them, touch them or nothing. So connect. So that's my whole purpose and my why I do a lot of stuff that I do is to just love on them, just regardless of where you at, how you at, because I never got that affection.
This is good. This is good. One more.
Just to piggyback off of what he said, we underestimate the power of personal touch.
Yep.
And in parenting education, that's one of the things that we teach from infants on, like infant massage. But one of the things so you're talking about a hug. If you just look up what a hug does,
right.
The brain, all the chemicals that are released for 20 seconds. Anybody who's single, that's how I trap my husband.
Go ahead.
We gonna extend the hug today.
But in teaching that, and literally, with some youth, with my children, I'm purposeful in counting to 20. While hugging them because of all of the great benefits of it.
Yeah, no, that's great. We're gonna round this out because we're gonna be on time, but we've done a great job. Walt Disney's mission statement: to make people happy.
At a high price.
Yeah, to make people happy. Elon Musk. Listen to this one. I love this one, and I want you I want y'all to like think about the people. Yeah. If something is important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure. Does that sound like Elon?
Exactly.
I mean, this man got rockets and satellites and right. Even if the probable outcome is failure, right? So what a risk taker he's free to be. Does that make sense? Yeah. Oprah, to be a teacher and to be known for inspiring my students to be more than they thought they could be. Does that align with what you know of Oprah? Tumblr, to empower creators to make their best work and to get it in front of audiences they deserve. LinkedIn, to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. Facebook, to give people the power to share and make the world more open and connected. PayPal, to build the web's most convenient, secure, cost-effective payment solution. Your mission statement is everything. It is the why you do what you do. My challenge to you is to seriously, not just, but to take some time for yourself, to Google search some, personal mission statements, to like get you something, because some of us aren't writers. Some of us are thinking, man, it's okay. You can borrow and you can piecemeal it together. Does that make sense? You don't let yourself off the hook because you're not a writer. This has everything. This is your guiding principle. Does that make sense? This is your, you guys have used maps in your car. And sometimes you have to detour. You got to turn off of where your map said go. And what does it do? It redirects you where? Because you had one. Because you had a destination. It can't reroute you to nowhere. It's rerouting you to your destination. I challenge you, people. I challenge you, sit down and create a destination for yourself. All right? Good job, y'all.
All right.
In every field, there comes a time where we want to professionalize the field, when we want to lift the field up into the next stage of what it's capable of.
We've put together a robust learning opportunity for mentors and youth service professionals.
The Indiana Professional Youth Mentor Certification Program is a 10-hour intensive learning opportunity held over the course of 2 days for professional youth service workers. Participants will engage in sessions from leading professionals in the business, take part in small group work, complete written reflections, as well as present their learning to other professionals. This program will expose mentors to a deeper level of exposure into therapeutic skills and insights that will equip them to make stronger connections with their clients and provide more favorable and sustainable outcomes in client lives.
And so we wanted to provide an experience that would give mentors foundational information to run their practices and be more effective in the community working with our youth and families.
The founders of the Indiana Professional Youth Mentor Certification Program vowed to create a standard for professionally funded or contracted mentors in the state of Indiana in order to establish a uniformity and quality of experience for youth and their families.
In every field, there comes a time where we want to professionalize the field, when we want to lift the field up into the next stage of what it's capable of. And for many of us, it's through licensure, as it could be through accreditation, it could be through credentialing. Here, we're looking to do that with mentoring programs through this particular certification. And
it's important that our practices are uniform so that we create predictable and consistent results.
There are 2 audiences for the Indiana Professional Certification Program. The first and most important audience is the Indiana Department of Child Services, the authority in youth and family care for the state of Indiana. The second audience is comprised of contracted service providers that represent the many and varied professional organizations that provide a plethora of direct services within the community based on referrals from the Department of Child Services, juvenile court systems, school corporations, and/or other funding agencies.
As a service provider for youth for over 10 years, there was not a standard in which everyone practiced by, so you would get inconsistent results with how individuals engage with you.
From this program, I took away a lot of amazing information that I wish I had when I first started mentoring 10 years ago. So it gives you just the background of how to do this and how to be effective.
I received valuable information I plan to take working with my mentees moving forward. Very informative, very realistic, very relatable, very empowering.
More specifically, the Indiana Professional Mentoring Certification Program is applicable to professional mentors, case managers, behavioral management specialists, life coaches, parent coaches, father engagement specialists, specialists, habilitation, and other relevant providers serving children and families in the state of Indiana. Some of the topics to be discussed include identifying and clarifying your why, the building blocks of the mentoring profession, essential tools of a professional mentor, trauma, trust-based relational intervention, codes and ethics, and mentoring as a business.
Not only are we providing people with good training, we're beginning the essence of a long-term relationship that takes the field to the next level, that makes it a professional field, one with ethics, one with evidence-based models, and we're looking forward to that.
Family and community partners and myself is committed to working with school corporations, churches, after-school programs, mentoring organizations, and other youth-serving organizations, and we can't wait to work with you.